Okay, so if we're talking about the big data era that's everybody's talking about, and you know, our view on how this relates to data growth and some of the approaches that are taken. If we look at charting data growth in an enterprise over time, so if this is, you know, terabytes or even petabytes of volume over here, and this is time, right? We start, you know, at some point in time, data starts growing, and we get to, you know, a certain volume of growth, say 5 petabytes in 2013. And we have historical growth patterns of, say, somewhere, you know, 30 to 50%, right? We're going to see this growth is going to kind of exponentially go up and up. And in just a few years, from 2013 to say 2014, 15, 16, right, you're going to get dramatic data growth. And the cost is going to skyrocket as we deal with this. Most organizations are not doing anything about removing this volume, and our growth is just increasing. So if what is happening a lot in the industry now is we're looking for, you know, big data to be able to help us process and analysis of these data volumes that are growing. You know, bringing, you know, structured data sources like our ERP solutions, along with unstructured solutions, you know, social media, Facebook, documents, email, SharePoint repositories. This is all what big data is good at. It's good at doing analysis and good at finding trends and bringing unstructured and structured data together. But the problem is, the underlying problem is this volume is still going to grow, and there's no end in sight. When is this ever going to decrease, no matter what solutions, no matter how fast big data is, Hadoop and NoSQL solutions, even the latest DB2 with Blue Acceleration from IBM, no matter how fast we get, will we be able to keep up with this data volume? Even there's ways of using Hadoop as an archive for this data. But if the volume's always going up, you have to really start to look at what's valuable. If we look at data in an organization, like a pie chart, what we really find out, and if you look at CGOC Council studies, they actually find out, and it's even less than this, but you know, there's about 30% of data that has any real value. And then, you know, you've got, you know, 69 to 70% down here. All of this stuff is essentially debris, has no value. What we look at up here is the intersection of 3 points. It has some business value. It helps us drive our business. In a big data world, I'm including this percentage in what we should be putting in big data. I'm not suggesting that we won't find trends and when we look at big data, new things emerge. I'm allowing for that. But when you really analyze what type of data you have to look and zone in on what has real business value. If I look at data from 15 years ago, does that really apply to the decisions I want to make about tomorrow? You have to ask that question and ask it strongly. The other 2 areas that fall in this are areas of obligation. One is called regulations, right? Where we are legally obligated to keep employee data for so long. Or there's certain jurisdictions where we have to you know, keep data to apply to the law, or even our own corporate standards where we want to retain data for certain periods. This is tied to retention periods of data. But believe it or not, again, the 69 to 70% of data that falls in this, what I'm calling debris, is actually outside of what we're legally bound to keep. So again, you got business value, You got required by regulations or retention periods, and then you have data that falls outside of that retention period, but may be on legal hold. Meaning that we have a case or a legal matter that requires us to retain that data. And studies have shown, and if you look at CGOC studies, they point to this, that really is the reality. It has value for decision making or running our business. We're bound to and obligated to keep it, or the legal hold. They actually only touch that. So my contention here is that let's not rely on big data to solve a problem it's not a fit for. What big data is great is analysis. What we need to do, though, is deal with debris, right? We should defensively delete this 70%. And by defensible, I mean do it in a way where we can show we're treating all data equally, we've evaluated business value, we've looked at regulations, and we know what's on hold precisely. Let's get rid of this data. Why put data of no value? And that's key. I'm not suggesting we delete valuable data, but data of no value, why would I want to put it in my shiny new big data solution? Why would I want to clog this up and perhaps negatively impact the quality of my analysis by putting junk into it? Let's delete that, focus on where the value is, and then bring this to our big data platform. That's really the way to do it.